Hello everyone, that manga kid here to give my first impressions of Hibi Chouchou, or the English title Like a Butterfly. This is by Su Morishita, the duo behind A Sign of Affection as well as Shortcake Cake. I have read and loved Shortcake Cake. I've never read A Sign of Affection. It's on my list, but it's not a priority for me to get. However, if you've been watching my channel, you know I've been buying more series in Japanese to try them out, and I purchased Hibi Chouchou, the entire series, so I do have all 12 volumes. I'm just obviously slowly making my way through it because I am in the beginning stages of learning Japanese, and I've actually found that this is a really, really great series to kind of start with because it's a pretty simple shoujo series. The language is very familiar to me because I have read and watched so much shoujo content that a lot of this language is very familiar to me. And so I find myself rarely stumped on trying to figure out what they're saying. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, and I work through my different methods of figuring out what they're saying when it does, but for the most part, a lot of this language is kind of a good starting point for me. And so I'm doing this first impressions knowing that it's going to take me a while to get through all 12 volumes. Normally, if I own a whole series, I will just do a review at the end of reading it, but because this will take me a while to read, I wanted to get my thoughts out, particularly because this series is getting an English release by Viz, I believe. This year, I think the first volume comes out in the spring, if I remember correctly. And so I wanted to get this first impressions out so that if you're thinking about purchasing the volumes in English, that, maybe my impressions of these first couple volumes will either sway you towards buying it or, sway you towards skipping it if it doesn't sound interesting to you. So anyway, this is one of Su Morishita's older series, and so this was written before Shortcake Cake and before A Sign of Affection. I really, really think this is so charming. The art style is beautiful, and I think this is a really, really fun, sweet shoujo series. Our main character is Suiren, and she is very shy, quiet, and reserved because she's so beautiful and kind of picturesque that growing up, boys just give her way too much attention, and it's unwanted attention, and they just see her as this perfect flower. And then she also finds that girls tend to fawn over her as well, and she's just not interested in that kind of attention. And so she really has withdrawn from relationships and everything. She has one quite close friend and another girl that she's also friends with, but for the most part, she doesn't really speak. She doesn't have much emotion showing on her face, and she's really just trying to fly under the radar, which is not really working because everybody's always constantly looking at her, but she's just kind of not paying attention to anybody else, or trying not to. So in that sense, she's kind of a different protagonist, because even in other series where you have kind of a shy, reserved main character, their inner monologue is what lets you kind of get to know them better. Whereas with her, she's just so quiet. And it's not to say that we don't get some inner dialogue from her, but for the most part, it's really, really sparing. And it's not, it just doesn't feel like to the extent of something like Say I Love You, or even My Little Monster. I'm just trying to think of other shoujo series that have kind of shyer sort of main characters, or people that just tend to withdraw from other people. There, or and Kimi ni Toroke as well, honestly. Even you get more, I think, from the beginning of those series, despite the characters being, not having a lot of friends and being really quiet people, you get to know them pretty quickly. And in this series, that's really not the case. Us as the reader is also, intrigued by her and fascinated by her, but she still kind of has that wall up even with the reader. Now, that being said, Kawasumi is the main male character. He is in the karate club. He has another friend, or he has kind of one close friend, but like Suiren, he is very shy. Doesn't really seem to be interested in girls, doesn't seem to be interested in much else besides karate and just kind of sitting around, with his buddy. But, one day he saves her from these guys that steal her backpack and are kind of teasing her. And so she immediately is like kind of interested in him, because he doesn't seem to be interested in her the way that all these other guys are, and not to mention he saved her from this distressing situation. And so she kind of starts keeping an eye on him, and the two of them interact a little bit more, and then their friends, his friend as well as her kind of two female friends, are kind of interested in being friends with each other, and so they're kind of spending a bit more time together than they expected, and feelings are starting to grow at this point within these first couple volumes. And so I'm just excited to see where this romance goes and what direction it goes, because they're both so shy, and they're really cute to kind of watch the two of them kind of wrestle with their feelings and their own shyness and like their kind of morals and values of like, I'm not interested in dating, but this person is kind of intriguing to me. I find the friends to be quite funny and fun as well, which is nice. There is a rival girl character who is super annoying, but thankfully it's like annoying funny, like the stuff that she's saying and her facial expressions I find comical, at least. But she is like overbearing, and right from the get-go. Like normally you kind of let things settle a bit before you introduce a rival, but this one's like, no, we'll just put this girl in immediately. So yeah, it's it's fun for sure. The art is beautiful, and I'm really, really enjoying reading this. And yeah, I am excited to continue reading this, and I'm excited to, uh, years down the line, reread this, hopefully with my Japanese at a higher level, and maybe catch some of the stuff that I missed. Yeah. So that being said, I understood what I understood of these first two volumes. There's definitely stuff that I missed because, my language comprehension level is just not, at a point where I would understand every single nuance of what's going on here. But I am thoroughly enjoying this. I'm getting enough out of it that I can definitely say I recommend it. And when this does come out in English, I think it is worth giving a shot. If you like shoujo at all, I think this is a good one. If you like, and if you like Sumo Ishita's other works, I'm sure you'll like this one. But yeah, this is definitely a recommendation from me, and I look forward to, at whatever point it is that I actually finish the other 10 volumes, giving a full series review at that time as well. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching.